Hi guys, it's Janice. Welcome back to my channel. Over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be posting some favorites videos, just favorites from the last year, the last 12 months. And it's going to be 3 favorites. So like 3 favorite first issues of comics, 3 favorite new releases, just because I have so much more that I could discuss, but then they would be really long. So I want to keep it down to just 3. So this first week is going to be 3 favorite first issues of comics. I'm not going to be holding up the issues because there's going to be a glare because I have my computer on and I just don't want there to be a glare in the camera. So I'm going to be just posting pictures up on the screen. So the first comic book that I want to discuss is The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. This one actually came out in 2014. So that's why this is the favorite first comics in the last year or the last 12 months and not just 2015, because I did want to mention this one. So this is written by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa and it is about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I was really hesitant to pick up this comic book because I'm not a really big Archie fan. My stepmom read a lot of Archie, so I read a bit of it as a kid, and it's just too wholesome and a little bit too kitschy for me. It's just not something I've ever really been interested in. So it made the prospect of reading a Sabrina the Teenage Witch comic not something I was really very interested in, but I do like the TV show, so that kind of warmed me to the idea a little bit more. And then also there was an Archie comic that just came out called Archie Afterlife with Archie, and it is a little bit darker than the normal Archie series, so I figured this one might be a little bit darker as well, so I was going to give it an opportunity. And then there was a ladies' night at my local comic shop where we just go and we hang out and dress up and meet other women interested in comics and things like that, and it's a really good time. And they had some special comic store specific variant covers for this comic. There was one cover in particular that a lot of different comic stores got, and then it just had the comic store's name on it. Mine's Bedrock City, so I picked it up. And I'm really happy that I did because it's a really good comic. First, it is not at all what you're anticipating when you think Sabrina the Teenage Witch and you think like Archie comics. It is really very creepy. Her aunts Hilda and Zelda are cannibals, as I think all witches are. And when you become a witch, you have to commit yourself to the devil and you have to be a virgin when you do that. So the tagline for this comic book on the website to kind of sell the first issue. On the eve of her 16th birthday, the young sorceress finds herself at a crossroads, having to choose between an unearthly destiny and her mortal boyfriend, Harvey. So there's still Harvey, she's still with him in this comic. The first issue starts off with her as a baby, and if you know the TV show at all, Sabrina's mother is a mortal and her father is a wizard, or a warlock, I guess is what they're called in Sabrina, and they're not supposed to mingle, they're not supposed to be in relationships and have children. So when you do, as a mortal, you become crazy, like it causes you to go crazy. So Sabrina's mother tries to steal the baby, she's captured by the other witches. She doesn't actually have Sabrina in her arms, it's a baby doll, and she doesn't realize it. So she's running and she's caught by the witches, and then the next thing you see, she is in a mental hospital. The rest of this issue goes through Sabrina growing up as a witch with her Aunt Hilda and Zelda. I'm not really certain at this point why her father had to give her to the aunts to raise, but she does live with her aunts in this comic. And it covers a bit of the shenanigans, the magical shenanigans that she got into as a kid. And then she becomes a teenager. She is in a relationship with Harvey at this point. She has a cousin, Ambrose, who comes to live with her. And then the comic kind of ends on a slightly eerie note. The ending shows a woman emerging from a lake completely naked, and she's dead. She is the former lover of Sabrina's father, and Sabrina's father left this woman for Sabrina's mother. So this woman is coming after Sabrina, and it's very, very creepy and really well done. It's very beautiful, very intriguing, and just a lot of fun. I was really surprised and pleased by this comic book. It is a comic book I continue to pick up. There's only 5 issues out right now. The trade paperback is set to come out in July, and it'll be the first 6 issues, or I don't know if it's the first 6 or if it's going to end on 6, but it'll be a 6-issue long trade. So between now and July of next year, the 6th issue is set to come out, but there haven't been really any information on when that issue is going to come out. So that is the first one, and it is a really good one. I definitely recommend picking it up, and I'll have links for where you can buy these comic books online for the most part. The next one that I want to talk about is Descender #1, and this is by Jeff Lemire. And this one is not as easy to pick up because it is sold out, and but I think you can buy second or third printings. I don't really know what printing it's on, but it is something you can still pick up if you're interested in single issues, or when the trade comes out, you can always pick it up there. So this came out, I believe, in March of 2015, and it is set in the far future. There are a lot of planets with life now, and I don't believe Earth exists any longer. The story starts off 10 years before present time in the comic book, and you meet a man. I can't think of his name right now. Sorry. And you meet a man, and you meet a few other people, and you kind of get introduced to the world a little bit. And then all of a sudden, there are these giant robots that are larger than planets that come and just wreak havoc on all of these different planets. There's a lot of loss of life, a lot of damage done, and for that reason, robots, androids, anything artificial intelligence is destroyed and banned. So jump forward to present time, which is 10 years later, and there is a little boy robot named Tim-21. He wakes up on a planet completely alone, and you know, he's a robot, so he is banned, but he doesn't know anything of what has happened up to this point, and so this is kind of just his adventures. In the first issue, he meets like a little dog robot, and I guess when he woke up, it flagged a lot of people in the universe that there was a robot, and whoever's the closest is going to get there first and claim him. So there are people trying to find him for several different reasons. There is the main group, which it consists of a woman who is the daughter of kind of, I guess, the president of some galactic government. And then there is the man who is like the father of modern robotics. And I put quotation marks around that, and you'll find out why later when you read the comic book. But so they are searching for this android because the structure or the signature, I guess, of this android, Tim-21, matches the structure of the robots that destroyed, that came and destroyed a lot of the worlds and killed a lot of people 10 years ago. So it stands to reason whoever created Tim-21 potentially also created these large robots. And you'll learn more about that as you read the rest of the book. But it is so good. It's really beautiful. It's done in a watercolor style, and it's just amazing. The art is amazing. There's a lot of different a lot of different planets and stuff like that. And it's just really well done. And Jeff Lemire is amazing. And I'll discuss him more in subsequent videos because he's amazing. But the third and final comic book that I wanted to discuss today is Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan. I love Brian K. Vaughan. He's one of my very favorite authors. He wrote Y the Last Man, which I'm going to be discussing in a subsequent video. He wrote Ex Machina, which is not to be confused with the movie that came out recently. They are not related. He wrote a comic called Pride of Baghdad, which is about some tigers. It's about some lions. And he's just written a lot of really good comics. There's also one that's free, which is called Private Eye, and it's amazing. It's set several years in the future, and it's about the internet. But anyway, the one that I want to discuss right now is Paper Girls, and this came out in October. It's about 4 girls in the 80s who deliver newspapers, and it starts on Halloween. They are delivering, one of them wakes up from a nightmare, and then she goes off to deliver some newspapers where she is harassed by some boys who want one of her newspapers, while she's trying to tell them, like, no. 3 other little girls ride up, and they also deliver newspapers, and they invite her to ride with them, and they separate into pairs and go off to deliver their papers. One of them has a pair of walkie-talkies. She gives one to the other 2 girls and keeps it herself, and then they go and they are able to keep in contact through the walkie-talkies. At one point, Tiffany, the girl with the walkie-talkies, is attacked and her walkie-talkie is stolen. So the 4 girls come together to try and find the person who stole her walkie-talkies. Now, I did mention earlier that one of them was being harassed, but it's not the same people who are harassing her who took the walkie-talkies. So they are searching for whoever took the walkie-talkie, and one of them has an idea that it might be in a home that's currently being constructed. So they go to this home and they go in the basement, and there is a large structure covered in a like sheet. They remove the sheet, and this structure looks like a UFO or something. It's not very large. It's larger than they are, but it fits into a basement. But it definitely looks like some kind of otherworldly device, and there are parts of it that look biological, like fleshy like areas on this UFO. So then there's a flash of light, and you can see like x-rays of their bodies. Who knows what happens at this point, but anyway, then they continue. I mean, who knows what happens to their bodies at this point. There might be subsequent things that we learn. There might be things that we learn later that have happened to their bodies during this. And then they continue to search for the people who stole the walkie-talkie. They eventually do catch up to them, and you see their faces, and these are very weird looking, definitely alien-like looking people, though it is Halloween, so they could be in costumes or whatever. But one of the people dropped something, and I've been fighting with myself on whether I want to say what it is they dropped, because I was so shocked. It was definitely something I did not see coming when I read the comic book, and I really want to entice you to read it because it is so good. And I think on one hand, telling you what's dropped can be really enticing, but on the other hand, it can ruin the first issue, I think. So I'm not going to mention it, but I just want you to know that something amazing, like something like really like a real like whoa, was not seeing that coming type situation happens on the final page. So this is really well done. It's really beautiful. Brian K. Vaughan is a really great writer. He wrote for Lost and Under the Dome. So if you like either of those shows, he was a part of that. And he's just really good at writing good characters, like relatable and fun and interesting characters. And it's just a really good series. And it's not just for girls. Like it is about for young girls in the 80s, but it's not just for girls. So it's a really good comic book. So those are the 3 first issues that I read this year that were my favorite. There are a few other comics that I wanted to mention, just kind of like an honorable mention type thing. The first one is Plutona by Jeff Lemire. It's really cute and really fun. It is about a world where superheroes exist, and one day walking home from school, a group of kids find one of their favorite superheroes dead. And it's by Jeff Lemire. I didn't mention this one in the top 3, not because I didn't think it was really fantastic, but I already had one by Jeff Lemire, and I also had one about kids, so I didn't want to have too many similar comic books in my top 3. The next one is Giant Days, and this is about 3 girls in university in the United Kingdom, and they're just like fun and adorable, and it's just really quirky. And I think it was a webcomic, though I did not read it in webcomic format at all, and this is it. Webcomic turned to paper comic like some like Nimona and things like that. It is an extension of the webcomic as far as I know. It's new stories that continue, and I don't even think it's the same artist as far as I know. But and then the last one's not technically a first issue. It's a single, it's a one-shot, and it's Ink for Beginners, a comic guide to getting tattooed by Kate Leth. And this is adorable. It is all drawn in like classic tattoo style, and it just has a lot of tips on, making sure that it's a tattoo that you're going to be happy with your whole life, and making sure that you wait enough time and you choose a reputable artist and somebody that you like, and it's just a guide for getting tattooed, and it's really cute and it's really fun. So let me know what comic books you read this year that you thought were awesome first issues that you really loved. I know that there was a lot of stuff I didn't mention, and also a lot of stuff that I didn't get an opportunity to pick up. So let me know if there was anything you read that you think is worth picking up or checking out. Leave me a comment, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.